#Real Race Talk. It's the Revved Up Sports Show talking local, regional, and national action. Here's Bobby Chaffee and Rodney Rodriguez.
Happy wet Monday. My God. Wet, chilly, moist, all that. All those good words, Bobby. It is #Real Race Talk. Welcome into the Revved Up Sports Show. Showtime, Bobby Chaffee, Rodney Rodriguez. Monday, Bobby. How we doing, brother?
Well, I have sound. I have video this week, so that's considerably better than it has been the last couple of times I've been trying to come on the airwaves here. So
We have the video, as they say. Yeah, no, it's always a good start right there when we do that. So diving in, go talk a little big old speedway here at 645 with Ryan Miller. We're going to talk with him, and then Bobby will just kind of. I do kind of want to go back over the STEM schedule since we had a little bit of. I know there were a lot of people that ended up seeing that, but we'll kind of go back through and take a look at that and talk about Speed Fest, all that good shit. Just random bullshit is what we'll do today as we head into a brand new weekend, my man. A lot of football. How's everything going for you, brother?
so far so good. Got a lot of football done. Got a little family time in, and I wouldn't say that I was disappointed with the outcomes in any of the games. I mean, I didn't expect the Texans to get their ass handed to them as bad as they did. But all in all, since nobody expected the Texans to actually be in a playoff position, much less win a division, I call that a successful season. So I'm happy with that.
Well, that game, I know the final is what it was or was what it was, but I mean, that thing was 10-10 at the half. I mean, I saw a lot of folks beating up on Houston, and I'm like, look, I mean, everything you just said, but I mean, they were going blow for blow right there. I mean, you look at, I mean, a lot of folks are, San Francisco, come on, man. I mean, the Green Bay, nice surprise and all that, but we're fixing to find out how good San Francisco is. We're fixing to find out how good Detroit is when they lock horns, and I think this Baltimore Kansas City one is going to be some damn fine football that we're going to watch right there. And man, I hate to say it, there's a big part of me that's kind of leaning towards the Chiefs, man. I kind of like what they're doing, man.
I don't know. Baltimore looked at the 49ers a couple of weeks ago.
They really did. I mean, Baltimore's been beating the living shit out of everybody all season long. So I think they're in a really good spot right there. It's a complete football team. Lamar Jackson is at a pace that he has never been at. Funny what happens when you get paid. He seems to have gotten his shit together. But anyway, yeah, that's all good right there. But yeah, Houston, I mean, good for them. I mean, it's a good year for those dudes. Very good year for those guys.
I mean, all in all, rookie coach, rookie quarterback set the world on fire. So I think that they've done good, all things considered. So it will be interesting to see where Jim Harbaugh lands. I don't foresee him being the head coach at the Michigan Wolverines this time. Come say 2-3 weeks from now. I don't necessarily see him there in LA either with the Chargers. You know where he'd be a really good fit? The Bears. The homecoming. Go back to the Bears.
He played there. He played there for a while, but you know, I think it's one of those things to where it depends. You know, like when folks talk about Belichick, it's like, you know, that dude doesn't want to rebuild. I mean, that's a dude that needs to be with the Chargers. I mean, that thing is ready, set, go right there. He can kind of implement his defense right there. He's got a quarterback in place. That's the best place for him. Something like that, or Atlanta, where he's a quarterback away. But yeah, with Jim, you know, whatever. I think Chicago would be good, but I know that family over there with the Chargers, man, they are going to roll out the red carpet. They're going to give him everything he wants, and that would be, like I said, lock, set, and go. I mean, it's all there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. It'll all shake itself out here, I'm sure, once we get through Super Sunday, which is coming up. What is that? 3 weeks out?
3 weeks out, yeah.
3 weeks out. And then I guess in between there, we will have the clash at the Coliseum. So that'll be coming up soon. I saw some Daytona 500 advertisements on the Fox games. So, yeah, we got to be getting close.
Closer. They were advertising the clash. So, I mean, I think it's closer in terms of being there. The problem is we don't have any more Fox broadcasts, so there won't be any more Daytona 500 tie-ins till we actually get closer to the 500. So,
yeah.
No more Fox broadcasts, so that'll kind of detour away from it. But usually, we've always seen the Daytona 500s have the highest ratings when Fox actually has the Super Bowl. So
Yeah, and we'll take a look. We'll take a look and see what happens with the Clash. You know, a lot of folks. I really like what they're doing, and I don't know. I think I sent you that earlier. Later on, maybe if we've got some time to kill, all 38 races in 2024, the Athletic ranked them. I think it was Jeff Gluck that went in there and ranked them.
Jeff Gluck.
Excitement. So we can kind of maybe take a look at that. But I think the Clash Coliseum. I mean, it's going to be fun. I mean, who? I mean, I know a lot of people think it's stupid, but I mean, honestly, the Clash wasn't very good at the end of Daytona either. So, I mean, they're just trying different shit. I mean, it's just something different.
Well, they changed their tune. They ended up having it where it was going to be, if you had the Saturday, if you had a Sunday ticket, Saturday stuff is all free now.
Yeah, and I like that. I mean, I think that's a great idea if they're going to let folks in right there. Let them in free, kind of whet the appetite, and let them come in and do whatever. So, yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, I think that's a great idea. And then you've got NASCAR Mexico there as well. So I think that's the other thing to where with that with that California market, I think that's something that's going to work out really well for them. I think they're going to have a pretty good crowd on hand for that, and I think a lot of it's going to be, you know, the Mexican heritage folks that are going to want to see NASCAR Mexico make their debut.
I think it's going to work out. I mean, NASCAR makes bad decisions, but they usually don't make bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
They usually do. They don't make a knee jerk reaction to anything. So I think that becomes some people will totally disagree with that, right? And we hate NASCAR. We're never watching again, but they hate everything they see on the track, but they never watch. We'll get back into that again every off season if we get to Daytona, right? So I think that they made the right decision with some of the stuff at Clash. It's a 3-year deal. This is year 3. Format going to be smaller amount of cars there for the main event. Somebody's going to get their feelings hurt. Some big stars are going to go home, just like in the first one. So we'll see how everything shakes out in terms of having that be there. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not a huge fan of the Clash of the Coliseum. I think but I think the actual on track part is a little to be desired. When you're racing on a track that's smaller than the Corpus Christi Bull Ring, that doesn't lead to really good racing, especially when you have cars that have I would say have the horsepower. You know, that's the only track that they outpower the track is the Clash of the Coliseum. So the 550 package, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Pissed off a dirt guy the other day, you know, just having conversation. It was like somehow the Clash came up and it's like, that's stupid. So what? The Clash is stupid. It's a man-made track in an auditorium or a coliseum with small track. It's stupid. I'm like, I said, like the Chili Bowl.
Yeah.
It's in the Expo Center. It's a very small venue. Pretty much same thing, right? No, it's different. I'm like, okay, right. Right on, buddy. Right on. Haven't heard from that dude in a hot minute, but yeah, it is what it is. Hey, did you see what? I know this weekend we had Cordele was going on, but did you see what else was this weekend? Probably even bigger than any race.
Chili Willy?
No. What? No, my man. Here it is. Miss Motorsports 2024. There it is right there. Congratulations.
Where was that, and why can't we be judges?
I know, right? Megan Williams, Miss Motorsports 2024. She's one of them. I'm not sure which one, but that was going on. I forget where that was, but yeah, how about that?
That's impressive. The ones in the front are pretty impressive.
Pretty cool little event right there. I think
that sounds like something that Phil Whipple would be a judge at.
Phil Whipple, Jay Hallis, Milton Hope. I mean, that sounds like the guys that would be a part of that, if you ask me.
And it really would.
Oh,
if you guys say race one more time.
Well, I didn't even say. I hadn't even looked at the comments, but I see Milton Hope, and I threw his name out there. If you say race one more time, I'm going to mow the lawn and watch. My man is talking to a reference that I made yesterday, talking about what I'll be doing on Super Bowl Sunday, if indeed certain teams are playing. But hey, I mean, good for the Chiefs. I mean, I got to tell you, I really like the other Kelsey. The Jason Kelsey stuff yesterday. Really cool. I like that a lot.
It was interesting him outside partying with the Bills' mom. That was kind of fun. So, you know what? If he's going to retire, let him have his fun, man. Let him have his fun. I mean, he's got his sister-in-law up there with Taylor Swift. I mean, I wish she'd have been running around with her top off, but no, it's just him. But whatever.
So that's what I was saying. If she did that, I mean, odds are good that maybe more folks would have been on board if she were running around like that. But hey, it's a good draw. I mean, I know a lot of people are getting a little bit over the Taylor Swift thing, but you know what?
The ratings are up when she's on TV.
Yeah, man, good for NASCAR. Good for the NFL. I mean, that's a very good thing right there for them. To where, I mean, shit, uh, what's really wrong with having? I would assume she's like the most popular musical star that there is. I mean, what's wrong with having her in your court? I mean, I think that's a very good thing.
I think so too. I think so too.
Yeah, I'm looking for something here because I saw something today where when Kelsey jumped out of the suite, and I'm going to find this because it is way too good to not play. When Kelsey jumped out of the suite, you remember? I don't know if you saw, but he picked up the little girl. He picked up the little Buffalo Bills fan. It was a girl, and took her up to see Taylor Swift. Did you see that part where he picked her up and she had a sign or whatever and took it to Taylor Swift? Really cool what he did right there. Take a listen to this. If I can get it queued up here. This is from Our Lady Jane Slater, and this was the little young lady that was picked up by Jason Kelsey.
Never a chance. And then I get Jason drunk his beer, and then he opened up the window. He climbed out of the suite and then gave the girl next to us a photo, and then he said, "Let's show Taylor this sign."
See that?
That's cool.
What's wrong with that, man? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool right there.
That's where you see sports guys doing beyond the duty of sports, right? I think that you've seen it. You see players go above and beyond. That's part of your star power, if you will, to a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm. Robert Harris, I'm ready to get back out to Lone Star Speedway now that Patrick Ortier is running things. Hey, yeah, looking forward to a good year there at Lone Star. We need to get them on here. And this has been a really good run that we've been on here, Bobby, with dropping schedules. If you've missed in the last few weeks, we dropped Texana and South Texas Race Ranch. We dropped the Stems. So all of that has been happening right here. And, of course, Robert follows that up with I'm Tired
Cotton Bowl.
Taylor Swift. Did we drop the Cotton Bowl here?
Yeah, because we dropped the World Outlaws.
We dropped the World of Outlaws. Dropped the World of Outlaws. Speaking of that, Big O Speedway, we're going to have that conversation coming up here in just a minute. Quickly, before we get to that, here is that schedule once again. Let's go. This was, I think, what was that? Last Thursday that we dropped this. We had a little bit of technical gremlins. I mean, we wound up having a great audience that saw this, but here's your 2024 STEM schedule for the modifieds, South Texas IMCA Modified Series. That's everything firing off for them. It starts March the 2nd, and there you see where they go throughout South Texas with Bobby. I think just a really nice full balanced schedule. I mean, if anything, maybe too full. I think. Well, when you really look at that thing.
I think they did it right in terms of having the right places with the right stuff. In terms of how the schedule shook out, it ended up, the tracks that had more car count got a couple of more races. Right, I-37 had a pretty good car count and turnout with the big mods there, the big IMCA modified. So did Cotton Bowl. So therefore, those tracks seem to have a couple extra dates over Texana and Corpus. But I think that's okay because when you put them all together, right now the couple of dates that stick out has got to be the opening March 2nd.
Yeah. Yep.
That's one of those got to be there kind of races. Even though it's a doubleheader, a Friday night on the 1st and Saturday night on the 2nd. That's got to be one of those races. It's got to be must attend when you figure that the ASCS National Tour is going to be there along with the debut of the STEM series. So that's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Absolutely. All right. Staying with tracks and talking about racetracks that are coming up here in 2024. Let's go to the Revved Up hotline. We are diving in right here. These guys have already gotten a race in. These guys have already gotten a race in January. Joining us on the hotline, it is our man for Big O Speedway. It is Ryan Miller. Ryan, how we doing, buddy?
Good. How about yourself, Rodney?
Doing well, sir. Doing well. Thank you for taking the time. I know when we talked today, my man, you said you may be on the road this evening. Are you out? Are you out in the elements, my friend? It's
No, I actually
it's
just got
horrible here.
home. So
Oh, perfect.
been raining all day here.
Oh man, I'll tell you, yeah, same thing here. And I'm supposed to be on the road to Mississippi tomorrow, so I think that
we may have to start doing boat races pretty soon.
no doubt about it. So Ryan, talk first before we dive in about the rest of what's coming up at Big O this year. There in Ennis. Talk about what's already happened. You guys already had a race in that folks saw live on Race on Texas.
Oh yeah, we had a race back on the 13th. We were supposed to actually race it on January the 6th, but it got rained out. We had to push it, so we pushed it to the next weekend and we raced, and it was a great race. Had a good turnout. I know it's cold. We got it in before it started getting too cold.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
So Ryan, is there any extra pressure for those big races at the beginning of the year just to try to get one in? Is it one of those you just try to do the dry run and say, hey, let's try to make this the best we can make it? Or is it you just want to get one because you just want to get another race in?
Well, racers want to race.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it was up to me, I'd probably race all year round. We just try to get in. If we can get it in, we'll try to get it in. If we have to push it a week, we'll push it another week. I mean, whatever we have to do, we get in the race. We like to race, so that's what we'd like to do.
Yep, no doubt. And Ryan, for you guys being up there, we were just talking about the South Texas Modified Series and IMCA Modifieds, but up there where you guys are, up in the Ennis area, up in the DFW, kind of that spot over there. Kind of talk about that. I mean, there are so many racetracks, so many great racers. I mean, you guys are in a really good spot to where it's easy to get folks to come in and want to race with you guys because it's just very rich out there when it comes to dirt track racing.
Yes, sir. We got a lot of tracks close by. I mean, when you go to Kennedale or you go to Waco on Friday nights, you go to Kennedale on Saturday nights, you can come to Big O on Saturday nights, and it's just
Oh, here we go. I think we got it back. So let's talk about. Saturday, February 3rd. It's kind of that is a great weekend. That is a great weekend. You guys have a Winterfest. Talk about that one that's coming up.
It's going to be the Winterfest. It's kind of basically the same group of cars we had on the 13th show. Hopefully, we're praying for good weather there. We're going to start normal time We're going to start at about 3:00, and hopefully we'll be done by 5:30. So.
Oh, nice! I like that.
Get it in, get it done before the sun goes down and it gets too cool for everybody.
That's for damn sure. That is for damn sure. That's right.
Yeah, we also have.
So Ryan, talk about. Go ahead, dude. Sorry.
Yeah, we also have a few other races going on, after that too. So that's the good part.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell us about some, dude. With that, you kind of stole my question. That's going to be what other big races you guys have planned, other than a couple of the kickoff races.
We actually on March the 22nd, we have the World of Outlaw sprint cars coming in.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be on a Friday night. I think it's going to be the first time they come to Ennis. I think it'll be a great show for them. I mean, our surface is probably one of the best around. I think, in my opinion. I mean, everybody has their own opinion. We probably have one of the best surfaces around, and probably put a good show on for those guys.
Mm-hmm. And I think so. So that's a back-to-back, right? So it's you guys on Friday, and then I think KRP on Saturday. So that's where folks can double up on that. I mean, that's going to be a hell of a weekend right there with World of Outlaw. So how are you guys getting ready for that? I mean, because it's one thing to have a big event, but when you bring that kind of shit in, I mean, that's a whole different. I mean, you're not only going to have your local fans and folks from the region, you're going to have the folks that travel from all around the country following that series.
Oh, for sure. You have to be prepared. And we had to change some stuff around just to have them come in.
Yeah.
Move some walls that we had in place. We had to move them so it'd be safer for the sprint cars and all that.
Yeah.
Cleaning the place up and making it look nice as normal. Of course, we've only had a month off from racing. I mean, we stopped racing in November. So we've only really had a month off to get everything going again, and we're slowly but surely getting it going.
Mm-hmm.
So how does the World Outlaw Show come to a smaller venue like Big O? Is it one of those things they y'all called them, they called you? Just go back to back with Kennedale, or how does something like that? Or how does something like that happen to where you get the World Outlaws at a cool little racetrack like y'all's?
I think they're actually back to back with the Oklahoma racetrack on our Saturday.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. But we reached out to them to try to get a date, because sprint cars, and every time they come to the DFW area, they always put a good show on. The fans always like to come and watch them, and so we want to give the fans something a little different here in around the Ennis area to watch.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, Ryan. Me talking about Kennedale is actually March 8th and 9th. So that's before and then the back-to-back there with Oklahoma. So the other thing that I want to ask you about, so you guys, a lot of folks, I know on asphalt, one of the things along the Gulf Coast is people are going ape shit about the Crown Vics. You guys have a Crown Vic series.
Yes, we do.
Kind of talk about that, because that's where that's entry level. It's designed to be entry level, but man, trying to keep it entry level tends to be the hardest part all the time.
That's the hardest part of any of it. The racers are their own curse to the rules, in my opinion. Yep. We always want more. And I don't blame them. I mean, I was the same way when I was a racer. I wanted more and more and more. But when it comes to entry level class, I think the Crown Vic, you can't get no better than that, the entry level. I mean, we actually rent those things out. We have about 20 of them, and we actually rent them out to different people that want to race them throughout the week, throughout the year.
Wow. Damn. Why are you telling me this?
They can rent them and then put a small crash deposit up. You don't tear it up, and you get your crash deposit back, and you have a great night of racing. Hey, you don't have to go home and work on nothing. You can come back and race it again the next weekend if you want to. Pay another fee.
So you said like 20? I mean, more than 15? So y'all have that many cars?
Yeah, we have 20 Crown. I believe it was 20 or 21 Crown Vics right now.
Holy shit!
All of them are owned by the racetrack right now, and we rent them out. We have a few guys. We actually had 2 new guys I believe come in this year that's going to start running them too. So we'll actually have a pretty good count if everybody rents them and we fill them up every night. So.
Man, that is awesome. I love that.
If you haven't watched it, they put a good show on. It's really good.
Yeah.
Well, in addition to the Crown Vic class, weather is good up there, Big O.
We also going to be running the factory stocks, the Eco mods, the Junior Limiteds, the Limited mods, B mods, and the UMP Super Late models and the UMP Crate models.
Nice. That's
on a weekly basis.
Wow. Damn. I got to tell you, back to the Crown Vics. So I was I was in Pensacola for the Snowball Derby in December, and I hadn't actually gotten to see the Crown Vics on a half mile in a long time. And I'm watching these guys out there, and I'm like, man, like you said, Ryan, and I raced for a long time. We're our own worst enemy. I'm like, there is no way this shit is stock. These guys are going by, and I'm like, I don't recall hearing a car on the highway sound quite like that.
Yeah.
But no, that's awesome. Again, what are those classes? I'm sorry, I was still over here fixated on the Crown Vics. Those weekly.
It'll be the factory stocks, the Eco mods, the Junior Limiteds, the Limited mod, B mods together, and then it'd be the Crown Vics, the UMP late model, super late models, and the UMP crate models.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's pretty good. That's a hell of a night when you come to the racetrack. In terms of track size, what size is Big O? Is it a quarter mile? Is it a big quarter mile? Or is it a smaller quarter mile?
Quarter mile.
No, that's what I see right there. Kind of, let's talk about with you guys, because factory stocks. I know down south, that's it's kind of across Texas. I mean, factory stocks is not anything that is lacking for participation. Kind of talk about your factory stock counts over there. I'm sure you guys being up north. I mean, I'm sure you bring the big hitters out quite often to race with you guys.
Oh yeah, we have a few big hitters that roll into the track. Here at the end of the season, last season, and the beginning of this year, we've been having a bunch of Houston guys come up and race with us, and they actually, it's been a great show every time they come up. They put on a good show with our group of guys, and we have Nate Dixon comes out. You'll have Michael Bowles come out.
Mm-hmm.
But all around, it's a really they put a real good show on. So
yeah, no doubt.
All right, so Ryan, tell us the best way. Is it Facebook to get a hold of you guys? Is it the BigOSpeedway.com? Is it a combination of both? What's the best way for people to get the most up-to-date information on the Speedway up there?
The best way to get it is the Facebook page, is the Big O Speedway Facebook page. If you have any questions, you can message the page, or you can look me up and message me. I seen a comment on Facebook earlier how something about promoters not responding back to somebody, and I'm like, man, I respond back to everybody as soon as I see his message. I try to respond back, but I got a full-time job, so I'll do it. I'll get back with them within a day, no problem at all. And so, I mean, if somebody messages me, I'll get back to them pretty quick.
Yeah. And Ryan, talk about that part. I mean, we always talk on here about we are very pro promoter. I mean, because like you said right there, a lot of folks don't understand. I mean, this is not your livelihood. Well, I mean, it is, but it isn't. I mean, this is not how you make your living. It's a passion. I mean, you do this because you care about the sport and the racers. How hard is it right now, whether it be between, there's all the racing drama, there's rules, there's money. You got to get the lights turned on. You got to bring people out. You got to try to keep racers somewhat happy. Just kind of talk about that part. I mean, because you can be in a great location, but still there's going to be folks that they're going to want to bitch about whatever you do.
Unfortunately, that's just part of it. Like I tell the guys at the drivers meeting, hey, if you leave here mad, that's on you. Mm-hmm. You come and talk to me and we'll fix it and try to figure out what we can do to move forward. I don't want nobody to come to the racetrack. I don't want them to leave mad. I mean, if they leave mad, that's the last thing I want. I mean, I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to have fun. I mean, I'm pretty much doing this for nothing. I mean, I just want the racetrack to succeed and to move forward. I mean, I like racing so much. I've been around the racetrack my whole life, so I just want it to succeed every which way we can, Mm-hmm.
That's the best part about it, dude. It's a passion for everybody, different varying levels. We talk to promoters all the time. It's like the things that some people will bitch about, whether there was too many jalapenos on a thing of nachos. I always use the cold hot dog. You could have the hottest racing action on the track. Somebody spends 2 extra minutes in line, and the hot dog is just a tick cold. That's all they're going to remember versus the damn good racing. It's like it never fails being a promoter in terms of just some of the extra BS that you got to put up with.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I agree there.
Yes, sir. All right, Ryan. So lastly, coming up, it'll be Saturday, February the 3rd, Big O Winterfest, racing at 3 o'clock, UMC Super Late Models, UMP Super Late Models, UMP Pro Late Models, limited modified, 600 to win, 600 for the factors, Ecos 400 to win, Junior Limiteds, and Crown Vics. That sounds like a hell of a show in early February, man. I think that's going to be a good one.
If they want to rent a Crown Vic, message the Facebook page, and they can rent a Crown Vic for that race. I mean, we got them to be able to rent them.
Ooh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, not that far from the house either to get to Ennis. It's only a couple hours.
It's funny, Ryan.
Yeah.
My shit still fits me.
There you go. That's all you need.
Barely, but it still fits me. So super good stuff. Looking forward to a great year for you guys out there in Ennis with Big O. Thanks for jumping on, dude. Stay warm, stay dry, and we look forward to covering that race for you guys on the 3rd.
Y'all too. Well, we look forward to putting a show on for y'all. Thank y'all.
You got it, man. Take care and be well.
Thank you. Bye.
You got it. There he goes, Ryan Miller out at Big O Speedway. Great conversation right there. That Bobby, that's another one of those little spots right there that we talk about where all these little, Texana. I mean, there are all these. That's kind of what I think there with Big O. I haven't been to Big O, but that's kind of what the feel that I get right there. It just seems real cozy to me. What you would get if you go to Big O.
I think so. I mean, I think the videos have shown that it's got to be yeah, Brad. I didn't want to bring up that little incident from the other day that we kept seeing all the video of. So, but yeah, it's it's such a unique looking little racetrack, a little bull ring. And it's one of those things where you never realize how much power the World of Outlaws has until they come through and say you need to move a wall.
Yeah.
Before we're coming, and guess what? It's kind of one of those things. So.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I was, talking about that when ARCA went to Pensacola. I was talking to Tim Bryant, and he was talking about everything that they had to do. And I mean, you hadn't been to Pensacola in a few years. You go look at that, and it's like a lot of the changes there, a lot of the additions were because of ARCA. And it's like, he was like, and he said one of the biggest things was like cabling and all the shit they had to do. It's like, man, you wouldn't believe everything, all the money that and that's on the track. Like for Big O right there, that's all on them. I mean, World of Outlaws ain't like, here's 10K, do this. They're like, do that and we'll show up.
That's pretty crazy. It's just crazy. So but you know what though? That place is going to be sold out.
It is. So were you talking about this?
I didn't want to bring that one up. I figured that he's probably got enough grief about that as it is.
Oh my God. It's like, I got a message the other day after we ran that, whatever show it was that we ran that on. And the girl, it was a lady. She's like, why are you making these mashups trying to laugh at our sport? I'm like, I didn't fucking make that.
Yeah, we just found that.
Yeah, you found that, or whoever it was. That was a Tic Tac video. I didn't do that. Did that to yourself. Whoever.
I mean, that, if you do something stupid, the way it is, it's going to end up on the internet one way or the other. So whether you're doing it in a race car, you're doing it on a sidewalk, jumping bikes or whatever at 6th Street, on the power scooters, whatever. If you bust your ass or you do something stupid, it's going to get caught and get put on the internet.
Yep. There's Ryan. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Ryan, for being a part of the show. Good stuff coming up at Big O. And again, mark that date down, Saturday, February 3rd. So that's that's the week in between. That's the Pro Bowl weekend. So if you're a football fan, get your ass to Ennis.
That's the day after my birthday.
Oh, there you go. So you know what you ought to do? You know what I'm going to do, Bobby? Maybe for your birthday, I'll rent you a Crown Vic. How about that?
Maybe. Depends on where I go.
Yeah, that could be something right there. Rent you a Crown Vic, get you out on the racetrack. That would be something really, really cool. Again, friends, we do remind you, click that right there. That's your QR code that's going to take you to the Revved Up site for the live shows, the rebroadcasts, everything right there. Click that, scan that with your phone, and you will go right to the home hub of the Revved Up Sports Show. Bobby, interesting weekend as you were talking about the Chili Willy, but we had racing in Cordele. And I think the bigger story for me was going into that, and I mean, especially as close and everything that with late models and pro late models, Hoosier with this brand new tire, with the S1 and the S2. I know when this came out at Pensacola. I mean, this had been in the works for quite a long time. I think this was a lot of push on Hoosier not from directly, but the fact that American Racer had come in and taken some racetracks, taken some series with a very durable tire that wears better. It really put the heat there on Hoosier with all the business that Hoosier has. I got to tell you, dude, I don't know if you saw that pro late model race, but that right there, was racing in the pro late models. I ain't seen that kind of racing in pro late models in a long time. I know in Mobile when we would run 30-lap features, racing was okay, kind of tight. But, man, you had these guys stacked four in a pack and everything. That tire, Hoosier hit a home run with this shit. Right now that it's cold, they did. So we'll see how that works out.
Well, I think that when you have a pro late model race, it's not a crash fest.
Yep.
It makes for a better race. That's why we've seen the tendency to have you've seen the tendency to have the races with the super late models being a wreck fest. You kind of shy away from it and all that. That's why a lot of people just turn a blind eye to pro late model racing. They've got a lot of really good stuff and come through and see a lot of cool deals, but I mean, it's just the way that it works. It's kind of like, man, you just gotta to tip your hat when it's an actual good race. And I say kids, majority of the youngsters don't try to wreck each other. So that's usually a good thing.
Well, and I got to tell you, in that race right there, you had 4 cars racing at the front of the pack, and Augie Grill was at the front, and things were happening there with Stephen Nassy and different things, and Bubba Pollard ends up getting into Augie inadvertently. I mean, it was nothing intentional. It was a racing deal. Obviously, Augie wasn't happy, but it was a situation where Augie's like, well, I get it. It happened. I'm pissed, but it happens. And Bubba's like, I didn't mean to do that or whatever. And it was really good to see that you had 4 racers just sitting right there, just with great racing in that race. It happened way too early in the race, but then all that happens, and this is where you see that, and it's like, okay, these are the pros. These are the late model guys that you like to watch race, because that shit happened. They get out of the car, they're pissed, but you don't have all these stupid shenanigans that you see like these people with Benny Hill.
Yeah. Well, I think the other part about it too is that when you come through, let's not forget Stephen Nassy going to go Cars Tour racing.
Yeah.
That was another big news that dropped over the weekend at Cordele. But that's not a Campy car, is it? Campy's not going with him, is he?
No, that he'll be in a Campy car for some events. I don't know which ones for the super in a super. The effort that they had in the pro this weekend was their family-owned unit. So really, he was extremely excited, that happened right there. But in the Campy car, I mean, he comes out and he finishes second to Bubba. And I mean, look at that podium right there, dude. Man, I'll pull it up maybe if we get to it. But you see those guys standing on the podium because they're doing the 1, 2, 3 like Formula One does, like everybody likes to do right now. And there's Bubba, and you got Casey Roderick and Stephen Nassy, and those dudes are standing there, and it's like
they all hate each other,
dude. It's like, can I fucking be anywhere else? All of them but Bubba. He's smiling, with the trophy and all that and the money. But and that, I mean, seriously, right there, current day. That's your Mount Rushmore of super late model drivers. Those 3 dudes right there. And I'm glad, with Casey, having the opportunities to race. He doesn't get to race he hadn't raced since June. And he jumps out here and nails the fast time. But, and again, I heard the speculation, well, he's driving for don't give me that. I mean, Roderick is a bad son of a gun. There's no way around that. He's one of the best. He's one of the best 3.
It's not like that's his first pole either.
Exactly. I mean, and it's one of those opportunities to where Casey, you get him in a car and he's going to do lots of really good things. So yeah, it was Bubba Pollard, Stephen Nassy, Casey Roderick. That was your top 3 over at Speed Fest. You see Bobby and I wearing these cool things, all these fancy gears. Well, it comes from On Demand Shirts in San Antonio. That's our man, James Cole, and his amazing staff there, and they do some really cool things, and they can hook you guys up as well. Here's a word from On Demand Shirts. That's right. They can hook you guys up as well. And the beauty of that is, like we say, Bobby, you ain't got to order 400,000 of them. They'll have your design in-house right there, and they'll hook you up, and they will set you up in quantities that are much more affordable than others. Oh, I think you're muted, dude. Yeah, that's all right. I'll finish it. They will set you up in quantities that that's really the thing about it. I've talked to a lot of racers where it's like, I want to get me some new gear. I want to get T-shirts. I want to get caps. I want to get koozies. All of this stuff, and you can go to all the retailers. You can find them online, all the different spots, and it's like, okay, minimum 100, and it's like, geez Louise. I mean, that by the time you get, like you see in that spot right there, by the time you get the design done and everything, it gets expensive, and then you have all of that inventory on hand that you have to deal with. Don't have that at On Demand Shirts. They're going to hook you up and get you set. Speaking of that, also want to talk about another great partner right here with us on Revved Up. I was talking about I'm heading to Mississippi tomorrow after Chaos Theory on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Going to do some work with my friends at GM Performance. And how about a word from Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet GM Performance? There they are right there. 604s, 602s, and all of your parts, powertrain, all of that. It is Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet GM Performance. Bobby, I do want to. I know I sent you this earlier, and I mentioned it earlier. I do want to go over this list of NASCAR races. I mean, I know people say they don't give a damn, but they do. They do. They care about this shit. Oh, I think we still got it muted. But so this was The Athletic, theathletic.com, which I'm here to tell you guys, if you're going to pay for digital content, which everything you do, you don't pay for the Revved Up Sports Show. It's free. It's free 99. You got to pay for shit. But if you're going to pay for digital content, I highly recommend The Athletic. And I'm not a paid endorser. I don't do anything for them, but I got to tell you, when it comes to whether it's football, basketball, baseball, racing, they are very good with the NASCAR stuff. There was a list that came out over the weekend, and what they did is they ranked all the NASCAR races on the schedule this year, the 2024 NASCAR schedule, 1 through 38 races. Obviously, some of those venues have 2 races. They ranked them 1 through 38, and I thought it was an interesting list. I think it's kind of worth going over and just kind of throwing that out as we are getting towards the Clash at the Coliseum. We're getting towards the Daytona 500. All of that is getting ready to happen. I will tell you on that list, like I said, there are 38 races. Number 37 was Texas Motor Speedway.
Ouch.
One
back?
Yep, got you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, one race, Bobby. I'll go down here, and I'll read you what it said. And this was Jeff Gluck. Want to be sure and give the credits there as needed. Yeah, race number 37. It was number 37 last year also. They did this last year. Here it is. 37, Texas. First, Texas lost a points race in favor of the All-Star race. We knew that. Then it lost its second date altogether. Now the track has suffered a third setback, having its lone date shifted out of the playoffs. That does suck. It's back. And it's probably going to rain, right?
It's going to rain. It's going to rain.
It's going to rain or it's going to be cold. Not a great sign, but also not surprising. The best thing you can say about last year's Texas race is it wasn't terrible, which is actually progress. Other than that, ... Number 37 out of 38. Yikes.
What was number 38?
Number 38 was the August 11th Richmond race, surprisingly,
That's odd.
And I think this is just another situation to where the race car is kind of taken away some of the, with Richmond and some of these tracks. And here's this one, criteria. How curious? There's not really any reason why that was said, but it dropped 2 spots. It was 36 last year, so now it is bottom of the barrel there for Richmond. And again, this is the problem where I think NASCAR needs to get in there and they need to figure out. They need to figure out one of two things. Oh, there's Mike Knotts once again. Mike, how you doing, brother? NASCAR needs to do one of two things when it comes to this car. When it comes to the short track, and again, this is merely my thoughts. Number one, give them some more horsepower because this car goes down into the corner on these short tracks, and when you bring the RPM down, you stab the gas, you get back on the gas again. It's not going anywhere. That's the problem. Either that, or I think that one of the things that I'm not a big fan of with this race car, especially when it comes to the short tracks, is you can make up a lot of ground with gear. I mean, talk to all the short track racers that watch this program. You can make a gear change, and that's going to either take you way up or it's going to bring you way down. And I think that's the problem right here. If they give them a little bit of flexibility where you could change a gear and go in there and do some of that, because it's the RPM. With the lack of horsepower, when that thing goes, and it just doesn't go anywhere. And that's the problem. That's why we have this. And I know a lot of folks, they went and did the test and people are like, well, we don't like the shifting. If they don't shift, you think this shit is bad now?
Oh yeah, they have to shift or else it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole thing, and I got a whole new appreciation for shifting when I drove the dwarf car. It's like, man, you can do so many things when you downshift. It's like, I mean, you're sitting there going nowhere, and boom, I mean, the RPM goes straight up, and boom, the car surges, and then you drop it back down into gear. So, anyway, but that's a whole different discussion. All right, now we're going to do top 15, and we won't elaborate on this a whole lot, but number 15 is the Talladega 2, which it's surprising.
That's a playoff race again, yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is the landmine of the playoff race that threatens to upend contenders' title dreams. But Talladega 2, number 15, I mean, that's where times have changed right now with this car.
Well, I just think that it's the way that everything's so equal now. The parity, some people say the parity has ruined it. I don't know necessarily if it's actually ruined it as much as it's just been a way to just have everything kind of be the same way that it should be. And so I just really think that the parity part, especially when it comes to the super speedways, these cars are so equal everywhere. Everybody says the magic thing to make them work better is more horsepower, but I think I just don't think that's the pipe dream. I don't think we're going to get more horsepower.
Mm-hmm. Yep, no doubt about it. Number 14. Shit, I lost them. Where'd they go? 13 and 14 are the two Kansas races. Kansas 1 and Kansas 2. May 5th and September 29th. Kansas.
I can see those being okay, just because of the one is the play. I think Kansas 2 is still a playoff race, the way it's shaken out, because they moved Darlington out to move Watkins Glen in as the playoff race. So that would be okay. The races at Kansas have been good, not great. But I think all in all, I think that they've remained more consistent as a half mile versus some of the other a mile and a half racetracks rather. So that would be a chance to be a really good showing for somebody that has been there in a mile and a half racetrack. So those tracks have been very good in terms of the consistency of the racing on the racetrack and the activity and the is that race good factor.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. So that's 13 and 14. Let's dive up. Number 12, the March 10th race, early race, first race at Phoenix. And kind of the explanation there, it's not that Phoenix isn't a great race, but it certainly offers a possibility of hints for the championship. And I think that's where that race is so big, because that's where you go in and you're working on the notebook. And I think it does. It's going to bring out, it brings out the best in these teams to where they're trying to figure out what they may be doing in November.
I think you see that the top tier teams are the ones that rise to the top there in Phoenix. But also every once in a while you see a lower tier team actually hit on a setup and they rock it to the front.
Number 11, the October 20th race at Las Vegas. That's the second race at Vegas. And
That's
kind
another
of
playoff race, yeah.
And kind of the reasoning behind this one is that this race seems to be one that kind of gives you a hint at who the champion may be. It's talking about Logano in 2022, kind of what he did right there, with being able to win that and prepare, to go to the championship. So Vegas is racy at times. I think that's a good 11, I guess.
It's all right. I mean, Vegas has done better than Texas in terms of the SMI tracks.
Mm-hmm. Number 10, into the top 10. And I don't necessarily know if I would put this number 10. Last year's number 16, the September 1st Labor Day weekend Southern 500. That's a big one to me. That's a Triple Crown race right there. That's one of those big ones that you circle on the calendar. And you know what? It's delivered. I mean, it's delivered pretty well. I think number 10 is kind of low for that.
I don't know. Last year it was an ass whooping by Kyle Larson. It was almost a Kyle Larson charity race. So I could see why that number would go down in terms of stuff like that. But definitely, the last couple of races has been a little snoozers. And I think it's just with this downforce package. They need to take a little bit of downforce away at all these racetracks and see what happens.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So that is number 10. The Southern 500 coming up there September 1st at the Lady in Black. Okay, moving up. Number 9. Now we're into the heat of it right here. October 27th, you go to Homestead, and that's I got to tell you, man, I think Homestead to me is one of the most underrated tracks on the on the series. All the years that the series that the champion was crowned there at Homestead, and it was like, who cares? Fuck Miami, whatever. But man, Homestead produces really, really good racing, and you do see a lot of dramatics that happen right there, I think.
Well, I think it does too. I think in terms of how it comes through, when the race was the same thing over and over and over again, and Jimmy Johnson was winning races over and over again and kicking everybody's ass down at Homestead, that made that race suck.
Yeah.
Now that he's not winning races down there and it's no longer the championship finale, it actually has made it really the Xfinity races there at Homestead have been better than the Cup races. But I definitely think that it's been on the rise there.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So,
and as we're going here, guys, you guys feel free to chime in there and tell us what you think. If you say I don't give a shit, you're wasting time. That's totally okay. Race number 8 in the 38. The second race, September 8th. That is at Atlanta, and I think that this is. It's a super speedway. I mean, I don't give a damn what you want to say right here, but this is a playoff race right here. So I think that's where where you look at this. This is, you can kind of factor it in there with Talladega with that right there, to where this can crush someone's championship hopes, I think, because you get into this shit. And I know a lot of folks are not happy having Atlanta in the playoffs. But dude, I mean, if you're trying to build drama, you're trying to build excitement. Shit, I mean, why the hell not, right? I mean, I think it's a great move to put this in the playoffs.
The races in Atlanta have definitely been better since the reconfiguration by far. So I really think that it becomes an ability to be able to have the way to where you're able to come through and have a very good race that actually leads to a lot of eyeballs. And I think that's what everybody's trying to get is eyeballs. That's what they've come through and trying to develop here. Sorry about that. Hit a little button there. But I think I came through it, and it's just one of those things. Atlanta is exciting. Atlanta is now a must-see race because it's a 1.5 mile super speedway, and it's just that simple.
Race number 7, you go to now. Here's the first Las Vegas race, which is on March the 3rd. And kind of the thought with this is, so you're going to start the season with the Clash. You're going to go to Daytona, then you go to Atlanta. And to me, that I think that's one of the most intriguing things about the NASCAR schedule this year is that you go to the 500. Then you go to Atlanta. You're going to have teams that may dig themselves a hole that it's going to be held to get out of. I mean, if you go up there and you tear shit up back-to-back weeks at the 500 and then at Atlanta, and then you're going to have, this is where you get those teams that maybe on the intermediates don't have the best chance to be in the top 10, the top 15 or whatever. That's where you can rack two of those back-to-back. So I kind of like the double time right there. But yeah, March 3rd, Las Vegas 1. And this is where we say again, Vegas produces some pretty damn good racing. And again, you're getting yourself ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it comes through and tries to make a really good race. That race has been fairly entertaining. I know it's a race that Joey Logano looks forward to on his calendar every year because it's by Pennzoil. And was the big sponsor over there. So except for tomorrow they come through and get we get to see the Hunt Brothers racing scheme out for Team Penske tomorrow. As after we got to see Ross Chastain's Busch Light car come through today. So
Good looking car, I got to say. I like that clean look there.
looks just like the can.
Yeah. Yep. Good looking car. Number 6, it is the cutoff race to the championship 4, the Martinsville race. And again, this race is going to bring a lot of drama for everything that goes on with it to try to set the playoff field. You're going to have, everything that you have right there. But I mean, again, this is where, NASCAR has gone in and they've done different things with the next gen car. I know that they've gone in changing the rakes on the thing in the back and all these different things. So hopefully that's something that's going to produce. I think that's really the thing that we're going to find out pretty damn early on right here, BC, is when they go in. Let's take a look and see, are the changes to the diffuser really going to make a difference? Are the changes to the engine compartment, pulling some of those panels out, is that really going to make a difference? Because it's kind of one of those things to where it's like you've got the most obvious problem. It's kind of like the Dallas Cowboy thing to me. You've got the obvious problem, but you're going to go in here and do all these different things and try to skirt the problem. The horsepower and the gear, to me, are the biggest problem, but you want to do all these things to kind of try to avoid it. I think we're going to find out pretty early on if the short track changes really make any difference. I'm not convinced that they're going to.
I don't think it's going to either. I don't think it's going to change a whole lot in terms of being able to come through and make a difference, a noticeable difference, right? The races at Martinsville have been boring as hell on the Cup side. The truck races, the Xfinity races have been outstanding. Nothing's going to top that Xfinity finish from last year, or the RCR teammates started getting into it, and you had Justin Allgaier winning out of the blue and qualifying for the championship 4. So that definitely becomes a unique racetrack. But Martinsville itself has been snoozers. I mean, they dropped it from 500 to 400 laps, and it still sucks.
Yeah, it still drags on. It still just drags on. Race number 5, and I thought this would be higher because I know that we've been listening for a lot of years. It's like, okay, we need a Cup race in Iowa. We need the Cup Series back at Iowa Speedway. This is number 5. Some folks that were kind of pulled in this thing think it's kind of low, which I think it is, but at the same time, I think it's kind of high based on there's nothing to fall back on, with this car. So number 5, Iowa. I'm hoping that this is going to be one that, like Nashville Super Speedway, wound up being something really cool. I'm hoping that's what happens right here again, to be determined. We don't know what we're going to get. I mean, that's a whole thing as we dive into 2024.
Because it's such a unique size for a racetrack, right? When you come in and have the 7/8 of a mile racetrack, it becomes an interesting size because it's not quite the mile, but you're still running the short track package. But I also think that you get an opportunity to see exactly what happens with the ability of the short track package. I think it makes a difference at an Iowa and maybe a Phoenix than it does at a Martinsville or a Bristol. And so I think that becomes a unique opportunity. 5, I guess that's okay. I'd put it in the top 10, but I don't think I would put it that high.
Number 4. And who'd have thought this? Because last year, the race at this venue was last, 38. Number 4, the Brickyard 400.
Remember that's going to be great. Back to the oval.
That race sucks. No, those cars don't belong on Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I can't wait to see this car out there, dude.
This car at Indy's going to be legit.
Dude, the 30th anniversary of the 400. And I think NASCAR goes in, they're going to pull out all the stops. That environment there in Speedway, Indiana is going to be through the freaking roof. This is going to be really good. I think I would put this higher. And again, we're going over here into the unknown where it's like, well, we don't know. I'm talking about the short track package. I don't know what it's going to produce, man. I am 96% sure that this car is going to produce one fucking great race on the Indianapolis Oval.
I think so. With the way the downforce is and the way everybody is even is the way it shakes out. I think the Indy race has a chance to be one hell of a good race.
I think it is, dude. And these guys are going to be leaning on each other. This is one where we may get done with this and it's going to be the whole, who wants to watch a crash fest, this thing, because that's what may happen here. I mean, that's limited practice time. That's everything's going to factor in right there. Number 3. We're down here to the top 3. Here we are getting down to the end of the championship. Phoenix, number 2, the November 10th race, sitting there at number 3. We talked about Phoenix to where, this car is very conducive to what this the excitement of all of this. So yeah, I don't know. I think I put the Brickyard ahead of that one. I'm more excited for that.
I think the Brickyard is a little too low. I don't think it's number one, depending on what Jeff Gluck put as number one. But sometimes Jeff enjoys the Kool-Aid just a little bit.
That's definitely the case. Number 2, season opener, Daytona 500, and that's one. It's hard to not put that number 1 all the time. Just everything that happens right there, the way that you get in the race, and all of that. I mean, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Winning last year. It's always one of those races to where anybody can win it. The Great American Race last year was number 1. It's number 2. It's hard to vote against Daytona, but I just think, Bobby, that so much of the allure of Daytona is that, hey, man, it's the one that starts us off. It's like, all right, here we go. Let's get rolling.
I mean, we had the most unique sport in the event that the championship race is not the biggest race of the year.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest race of the year is still the Daytona 500 because you're a Daytona 500 champion. They don't say Daytona 500 winner. You're a Daytona 500 champion. So I think once you go to Daytona, though, Daytona is just it's a unique beast in its own right. Even going down to Daytona without racing, other than just a test for the Rolex, for the 24 hours of Daytona, that place is just something special. It's unique. SMI's putting some money into rebranding some of these tracks and putting some money into these tracks, and it's paying off. Daytona is a show palace.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it. Number 1, July 7th, Chicago Street Course. And kind of the idea right there. And again, I know that this race was frowned upon last year for a lot of reasons. The market, there are going to be shootings, there are going to be all these different things. But and this is actually mentioned in here to where I think last year Chicago didn't, with the flooding, you remember that shit? Everything that happened right there, I think it was something where Chicago didn't get a fair shake the first time around.
Well, I also think the race itself is going to be completely different this time around, because we never did double file restarts. We never did anything double file for sure. We never ran a lot of the distance was cut, so that can change strategy and stuff like that. I think it worked out the best it could for SVG because that opened up a door to NASCAR that I don't think he really thought was going to be there. And so I think that it became a way to be able to just be a kick-ass story. I, for one, was impressed with the product that I saw, knowing and taking into consideration all the external factors that made that race unique, right? The monsoon, you had all the extra, but a lot of people, the same thing as the Clash. A lot of people, 60% of the people that attended that race had never been to a NASCAR race before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that, I think a lot of the problem with, folks not really feeling the Chicago thing is a combination of, number 1, the location. Chicago just really, it's not really the NASCAR that we all knew and love. It's a different market right there. Plus, it's a road course. Plus, it's a street course, and I think that that's a lot that factors in. But this is where we go back to. And I'm sorry, guys. We can sit here and call this race car whatever it is. We can bitch about the car, do all these different things, but this is the car that they have. And, they're sitting there trying to work different ways to make it better at specific types of genres or racetrack. This car hadn't disappointed on super speedways, and it sure shit hadn't disappointed on road courses. So I think this will be fun. I think that this race will be good if they get an opportunity to not have to deal with the weather and all the different shit.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to make a major change in terms of how they're going to be able to come through and make that stuff happen. So it's definitely got an option to be. I think it's going to be a great race. I just think that they've made a couple of fine tune adjustments with it, and I think that's what it's going to take to make it a really good race.
No doubt about it. And it all fires off here coming up Daytona 500. Before we know it, it will be here. Step away for just a moment after a word from our great partner at Generation Race Cars.
Hey racers, Phil Whipple here with the Revved Up Sports Show. For the past year, you've heard us talking about our partners over at Generation Race Cars. I'm proud to say they're back again this year, and they're off to a great start. Generation Race Cars, located in Springtown, Texas, continues to offer new chassis body combos all the way to turnkey sport mods and limited modifieds. All cars are built the same as you've seen in Victory Lane with drivers like Alex Hickam, Jeff Shepard, and Dean Abbey. All customers are valued and treated equally, so why not join the winning team? Justin Long is committed to giving each and every customer the time they deserve, along with a commitment to bring quality into every build. If you're ready to join the team, give the guys over at Generation Race Cars a call today at 817-528-2947. You put a lot into your racing program, so why not take it to victory lane with Team GRC?
There it is. Thank you, Phil.
There
Generation.
it is.
There's good stuff right there. Bobby, by the way, next week we will talk to Ray Doyon. He will join us.
Are we back from his cruise?
He's not back yet. I reached out to him over the weekend. He's like, I'm busy, and I looked and I was like, oops, sorry. So he will join next week talking about 37, some other things he wants to talk about. He wants to talk about dirt late models. So we'll definitely get into that conversation. And I did see that Jennifer Kidd posted after all the great posts. I got to tell you, man, it's been really cool to see that San Antonio race reunion page really light itself up. We talked to Mike Balzer, to Jason Oates, to Eddie Wallace, all of these guys, and we'll do more of that in the off season. So it looks like October 5th, dude, San Antonio race reunion. That's going to be a good time.
And just hope that's not too far away. I thought they'd do it a little sooner just because you want to strike when the iron's hot. But definitely, I mean, I was surprised to see that it was going to end up being right there. Because of the fact that, I would have tried it a little sooner, just hit it when the iron's hotter. Yeah. That's what I did. That's what I'd have done anyway.
I think, I don't know. I agree. But then I think maybe some of the logic was, with guys, getting ready, getting race cars put together and all this stuff. And then, of course, once we get going, and that's a crazy thing about all this. I mean, we were, when we were talking to Ryan Miller right there from Big O Speedway, I mean, they're racing on February 3rd or 4th or whatever it is. You've got enduros and all these different things that are happening. And it's like, man, like you and I have talked about so many times, Bobby, you remember this shit started in April back in the day. And I mean, here we are, you're racing in January.
It was early if it started in April. You started Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yeah. We were talking there to Ryan. I mean, hell, they ran a race in January. So,
it's crazy.
It never stops. Hey, also, the Arena Series gets fired off. I think I'll have to look this up because I don't have it right in front of me, man.
The third, I think, is their first race.
You're right, the third. So that gets going as well. So a lot of that right there. I think the key is going to be for all the folks in with the San Antonio reunion stuff is, stay in front of people. I mean, I think it would be a really good thing if Jennifer, and she's involved at 37. So I think that'll be good if she's going to be in front of people. They just kind of keep reminding them and try to get people out.
I think so. I mean, I think it's got a chance.
Yep. What you think of our man Aaron Plessinger? Finally winning a Supercross 450 main event.
Long time coming. It's in a transition year. Everybody's trying to find their next favorite racer, other than Eli Tomac that's still racing, which I thought he'd hang it up after that Achilles crash that he had. Everybody's trying to find their next favorite racer because it's a turning point. The next generation, not necessarily next generation, but the next round of superstars are trying to emerge there in Supercross, and it's like just trying to find your next star, because I don't think they have one yet that's going to be a household name just yet. Working on it though. They got a few guys that can surpass, some motorsports people to kind of get in the limelight, but it's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, when you get Webb and Sexton and some of these guys that have really come on, and then of course with Lawrence, winning his first race there at Anaheim 1. I mean, the first race he was ever in on a 450, and then he got tied up. You see that? So he gets, I don't even know how it happened, but he got tied up with Jason Anderson. And I mean, they're going back and forth, and they're like, they're bitching at each other after the race. And it was one of those things where it was really nice to see where Lawrence, being the young guy, I don't know what happened after the thing, if he went back and reviewed what happened to him or whatever the case was with El Hombre right there, but he went back and he posted on social media. He's like, Jason Anderson, you send me your invoice, because Anderson got fined. He got fined by Supercross. He's like, you send me the invoice because I'm paying your fine. I was totally out of line. Let me pay that. I fucked up. I was like, hey, look at that.
Don't see that very often.
No, you don't see that very often at all. That's Supercross, and they continue rolling along, and that is a cool thing because you can do that. It's on the Peacock. It's on the Peacock, so you can catch that stuff on Saturday evenings.
It'll be a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of people already had Peacock and didn't know it. 23 million people decided that they wanted to watch the football game. They were on Peacock.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A couple of other things right there. Talking about our friends at Rogers Dab Chevrolet. You got a big one coming up January 25th through the 27th. This is going to be in Tampa. Man, I tell you what, Crate Racing USA, these late models will be going at it. The East Bay Winter Nationals happening. You'll also have the Crate Racing USA Street Stocks. Again, Crate Racing USA trying to get their way into Texas. So if you're a racetrack operator that's interested in that, let them know, let me know. I can put you in touch with them. But that's going to be a fun one right there happening in Tampa, Florida with Crate Racing USA. Also, something else, kind of back to the San Antonio thing, Bobby, that I thought was really cool on that on the reunion page. I saw this one right here. Take a look at this. Man, this is way back, I'm assuming some part of 1977 or maybe 76. I think Tom Taylor posted this. Look at that picture under the Jimmy Finger VitaFresh Camaro. That is San Antonio. That's Highway 16 Raceway before the racetrack was there. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, wow.
Dude, that is unbelievable right there as they came in. That was the groundbreaking that they had back at that time as they were getting ready for the proposed track. It was a proposed track back then. They weren't sure they were going to pull it off, but they did, and there it sits ready for racing action today.
Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. Good stuff on the program tonight. Big O Speedway, Ryan Miller, thank you for checking in. Bobby and I rambling on about NASCAR stuff. The other thing that I did want to ask you, Bobby, I saw something else. This was from sportsnot.com when folks talk about dirt racing versus NASCAR. This is Kyle Larson. This is a quote from Kyle Larson. Quote, I make a really good living. I'm totally happy with my contract and all that, but it's still not anywhere near the level, probably even half of what Jimmy was getting paid back in his heyday, end quote, which, that makes sense. Dude just went in the Hall of Fame. Check this out. When folks talk about dirt versus NASCAR, quote, I know I'm making way more than a good majority of the field. I don't really know what to think, but I think a lot of guys are just happy to say that they're in the Cup Series. Down to the bottom, quote, I bet you the top 4 drivers in the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Series are making more money than a third to half of the Cup Series guys. Probably half of the Cup Series guys. I know that's crazy to think about, but everybody chooses their own route, I guess, end quote. That is from Kyle Larson.
Him and his High Limit series, too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Good stuff right there. All right, Bobby. Rest of the week, my man. You're going to be a duck. It's going to rain. A lot of rain.
I know, it's going to be pretty nasty next couple of days, so I'll be stuck inside messing with some of these new audio toys I got.
Oh, that's a nice thing about it, dude. I'm telling you, man, when you start messing around with that stuff, that's why I now office out of my studio. Tracy needed a home office. She's like, why don't you just office out of there? You're in there all the time. So, boom. So you got an office light. Check this out.
Look at that.
It's like I'm under surveillance right there. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I might end up eventually at some point going back up to the studio at some point. I don't know when that'll be, but at some point I'll be back up there.
That's all right. It's here. It's here all the time, my man. Your spot is right over here. The only thing you got laying over there, you got a couple of caps, 2 empty beer cans, 4 remote controls, a candle, and a phone charger. That's all that's sitting there. Come on anytime, my brother. Come on anytime. Thank you all for being a part of the program. We will do it again next Monday. Monday. Again, Ray Doyon checking in. So I-37 will be our showcased track as we deal into that. Thank you all for being a part of the program. Bobby, final thoughts, my brother.
Racing season's almost here, which means football season's almost done. So pick your poison and know which one you want to deal with, because it's as soon as it's here, it won't be before long before we'll be dragging ass going, man, this season's already too long. That'll be about 3 or 4 races in.
Yeah, it's going to be, we need a week off. It's going to be some fun stuff coming up, and I think a great 2024. All right, you guys, have a great week. We'll do it again next week. You guys check in on all the socials and stay in tune with everything that we're doing right here on the program. RevvedUpSportsShow.com. Also, you can go there for all the information that is racing. For Bobby, I'm Rodney. We will do it again next week. #Real Race Talk from Texas. It is the Revved Up Sports Show and the Revved Up Livecast.